they have decided to rebuild on their existing site, which is something that we were encouraging them to do, and I think is by far the best solution for the city, avoiding some dark stores at that key intersection. This kind of shows how the new building is going to fit on the site. And again, to orient you here, this is Main Street, this is McCoy Road, and this is O'Keefe Avenue. So there are existing Walmart stores here shown in the red, and this is the existing Pick and Save building, which of course has been vacant for some time. Their plan is to purchase this site, tear down the Pick and Save building, build the new store while the existing store stays in operation, and then after they've opened up the new store, have it stocked and everything, then close the old store and tear that down. So this portion of the parking lot would get filled in later. They're planning on starting next spring, and about a year to get the store open, and then another 2 or 3 months to get the old building down and the parking lot finished. As part of this plan, McCoy Road would be relocated to line up with Sunfield. So this intersection, which is just off the map up here that causes all the difficulties at the O'Keefe Main Street intersection, would be closed and relocated. And we also have some stormwater issues. In addition to taking care of their stormwater needs, we're hoping to address some stormwater issues in this area with some detention at the north end of the site as well. This is their concept plan. This is an early concept plan. They have not gotten a zoning site plan approved yet, just at the concept level. So there will be several changes to this before it gets completed, but we are moving along. This again illustrates the relocation of McCoy Road and how their access and so forth would occur. And these are the building elevations, just under 150,000 square feet. Again, starting next spring, about a year to open the store, and a few more months to get the old store down and get the site completely open. Number 7, South Bristol Street. And I always hate to talk about South Bristol Street because I've been before you several times before with 2 different plans telling you this is going to happen, and both of those have fallen through. And this one is very close, within perhaps weeks, Neil, of getting started. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with this site, but South Bristol Street, just north of Lynn Route. So downtown, Cannery Square and so forth is just off to the map, to the right, north. But this site is, again, this is our 3rd try to get this site going. The city owns a good portion of this site right now, and there's one parcel that's privately owned. But the plan is for a senior living facility of 150 units, which would include independent living units, assisted living units, and memory care units. Right now, the closing on the property is scheduled for the week of the 28th. Keeping our fingers crossed on that. And they plan on starting construction immediately after that and opening next year. This is the site plan. I've turned things to fit on the screen here a little 90 degrees. So north is actually that direction, Cannery Square and so forth would be that direction. Leonard Drive is here, and South Bristol Street is here. This is a 4-story portion of the building that would include the independent living, the assisted living, and then some of the common facilities. And then the memory care is a 1-story wing here on the north. And I think I've shown you this, but here's another view of what that building is going to look like. So the challenge here was to get enough value on this site to make things work within the TIF district, because we relocated the meat processing facility and bought a number of other properties down there. It's a big chunk of money to try to make up through the TIF, so we needed a pretty substantial development on this site. Also sits adjacent to some single-family homes to the west. The idea was do something here that looks residential but also fits in with the scale and the character of downtown, and I think this building will do that. Number 8, the Main Street Overlay Ordinance is actually being used, so we're seeing some things happen on Main Street. And I think at last year's meeting, I touched on the Main Street Overlay Ordinance a little bit, just as a quick reminder of what this involves. It's kind of a new approach to zoning along Main Street. We've established some design standards for new development and for building additions along that corridor, and put some incentives in place for people to follow those design standards. Basically, if you meet the standards, rather than having to go through the Planning Commission and City Council, that lengthy review and the uncertainty of that kind of a review, your plan can get approved at the staff level. And it really is an incentive for someone to kind of follow our plan. And we have had 4 projects moving forward under that ordinance, and 3 of them are actually underway right now. One will be starting next spring. Sir Hobos has In addition, they had a fire, so they had to do some rehab there, but they're also putting an addition on and substantially changing the front of the building. Culvers, the addition was mentioned. I think that's going to be a great project. Change the look of that building quite a bit, bringing it out towards the street. Hard to see in the photograph there, but that project has started. Hopefully we'll be done and open and we can get our Butterburgers soon. The other project that's going on right now is 1261 West Main Street. This is the old We Energies building. Difficult to see in the photo, but they're refacing the entire front of that building, and they put an addition on the back to accommodate their existing tenant in the building. There'll be some additional lease space available up front, but they're trying to take what was originally an industrial-looking building and make it more of a Main Street type of a facade. So additional windows are being added, kind of going with a brick and stucco look around the building. And again, a good project for that building, that site. And then the fourth project is Advanced Auto Parts. And I'm showing you this. This was the initial proposal from Advanced Auto Parts. And it's difficult to see in this building elevation, but I think through the Main Street overlay process, we were able to get, I think, what will be a much nicer building on that site. This will be built on the Prairie Rentals site, so kind of across from Hanley next to Dairy Queen. That project, they're going to be closing on the property, I believe, just after the first of the year, and they're planning on getting started in the spring. Number 9, and this one, I'm probably the only one here that's going to get excited about this, but the new zoning ordinance is coming. Our current ordinance is very difficult to deal with. It was drafted and adopted in 1989. Standards are very much outdated. We have plans, community plans in place that call for creating all sorts of great environments, pedestrian-oriented environments, nice, beautiful communities, and our zoning ordinance right now outlaws all of them. So that's something that we're dealing with. A lot of the developments that have been approved in the last 5 to 10 years have gone through what's called our planned development ordinance to avoid using our standards in the zoning ordinance requirements. So that tells us that there's a problem. We've been working for the last 1.5 to 2 years on what is easily for me the most tedious and difficult project of reorganizing and redrafting that ordinance. And I think we still have a good 6 to 8 months to go before we're ready to kind of unveil that to the public and get comments. But we're hoping to update and clarify those standards that are causing problems. We're hoping to reorganize it to make it more user-friendly. Right now, someone that's interested in redeveloping a site or developing a site will have to go to 5 or 6 different chapters to get a good handle on what the rules are for developing that site. We're hoping to collapse those all together so it becomes much easier to use and much less confusing. And then looking to streamline processes wherever we can and eliminate some of the conflicts that we have. What we're doing is creating a staff draft at this point, and we're going to try to refine that. And then we'll probably sometime next year be going through a series of focus groups to deal with specific issues and changes and make sure that everyone's on board with what's proposed in the staff draft. And for that, we may be trying to draft a lot of you for participation and so forth. I have one slide left, and I guess before I do, I'm not sure I have to apologize, but it really couldn't avoid this slide if we're talking about things to be thankful for here in our area. Couldn't resist it. No matter how bad things are Monday through Friday, and even on Saturdays, Sunday afternoons have been a blast. So that's my number 10, probably number 1 in a lot of people's minds. With that, I'll hand it over to Neil.